Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome all of you on the behalf of Saints Welfare Foundation. I am Progya Shorkar, and today I will be hosting this webinar on learning and implementing right skills to succeed in dynamic environment, which is organized by DigiSaksham. About DigiSaksham, DigiSaksham is another initiative of Saints Welfare Foundation has developed content for over 300 courses in multiple languages, which range from 4 hours to 6 months in various sectors of IT, BFSI, retail, entrepreneurship for all age groups from school children, youth, professionals, and senior citizens with over 6,000 trainings till date. Talking about webinar, dynamic environment is characterized by the uncertainty of the environment that limits the ability of managers to make decisions. What skill is required? Here it will be discussed. I would like to introduce our speaker of today's event. Our speaker is Dr. Verblin Rekhi. Dr. Verblin Rekhi is an expert in the field of digital marketing. Since 20 years, she is a corporate trainer, consultant, and MBA professor in the area of digital marketing and holds a PhD in the same. She trains various renowned brands on advanced digital marketing courses and mentors startups under her consultancy, #digital. I'd like to request you to take over.
Thank you, Pragya. Thank you, Pragya and Ritu. So I'll take up from here. I still want to have more cameras on so that I can see you when I'm giving this session. So have as many cameras on as possible. And, before I start with the session, I want to wish everybody a very happy Children's Day. Though I know in different countries we celebrate Children's Day on different days and occasions, but here in India, we celebrate it on 14th November for the reason that it is the birth anniversary of our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, I wanted to speak about something which is a little beyond the Children's Day today, because we have seen in the last 2 years with the pandemic and with the lockdowns, so the children have been like exposed to a lot of adversities and a lot of uncertainties, and they have had a very, very difficult life, whether it comes to their school or, whether it comes to their recreational activities or their health or their entertainment. So that is the reason, I wanted to talk about something which, motivates them. Why? Because, when a person is internally motivated, it not just, enhances his or her performance, but it also helps in the overall well-being of the child. And that is what we really require at the moment. So the topic which I chose is learning and implementing skills, which are required to succeed, in a dynamic environment. Now, the question is, why have I chosen dynamic environment as the term? The reason is, like Pragya also said in her introduction, that dynamic because there are a lot of uncertainties today, there are a lot of ambiguities today, and there is nothing which is certain in the future, ever since the world is facing this challenge of COVID-19, and we see so many businesses being shut down, and we see children are forced to take online classes for such a long period of time. At least in India, we know that it's been 20 months that our children have not gone to physical schools. So that's the reason I use the term dynamic, because it is so uncertain. It is like really, really sometimes very tragic also to see children coping up with so many things. They're locked down inside the houses and stuff like that. So today, basically, I want to actually talk about certain skills which children. Now, this some webinar, which you people are attending, I will be talking from the centricity of children, okay, because it's the Children's Day today. So, keeping them as the center of the webinar, I would want to talk about two different types of skills which they should focus on to be able to succeed in this dynamic environment, not just because of COVID-19, but even after COVID-19 gets over. We all know that world is a very, very dynamic place. Anything can happen anytime. So the two different type of skills, which I want to talk about are number one, life skills, and the other is the professional skills. Now, the life skills that I want to talk about are actually the skills which will help them to become better human beings. And professional skills are the ones which will help them to succeed in their career. There are two different priorities that I have today. Okay, so I'll start with the life skills because more than professional skills, I believe that today mental well being of children is much, much more important. So, first life skill that I want to talk about, which children should inculcate in them. I mean, obviously, they have it already, it is being inculcated through their school teachers and through their parents, but still, it is an area where they really need to develop. Looking at how the things are going is focus and self control. Now, what do I mean by focus and self control? We all know that, the life of the child is actually being based upon a lot of routines, lot of timetables, lot of habits, and actually, if you ask me, this is a very good thing because these timetables, these schedulers which we get from the school or which the parents make for their children is something which help them to learn self control. Because if there is no guideline for a child that how he or she should pass his day, it will lead to a lot of wastage of time. And today, I mean, being self disciplined is very, very, very important. And self control would also include things, today which are required to be healthy, which are also required to beat the external circumstances like COVID-19. So, a self consciousness to, sanitize yourself after every few minutes or few hours, and always to maintain social distancing, always to maintain your masks. All these things, they come under self control. And that's the reason, the why some children do it proactively, and for some children, parents have to run after them. So this is the difference, this skill is very, very important, which is self control. Now, another life skill, which I think children really require today is perspective taking. Now, what do we mean by perspective taking? Perspective taking is the ability to be able to take the perspective of the other person in a supporting way, even if that perspective is different from yours. So, with the kind of challenges, that we have faced in the last 2 years, especially with children, it becomes very important that not only, we become more adaptable to the perspective of other people, but we also empathize with them. The ability to empathize with other people and the problems that they are going through is very, very important. So, perspective taking, is a life skill, which we may not talk about it very often, but if we have this inculcated into our children, it will definitely make them better human beings because they will be able to empathize with the other people, and will be able to place themselves in their shoes and will be able to, help them, which is really, really required. The third, skill that I want to talk about, which is both a life skill as well as a professional skill, and hence I have, covered it under both the headings, is communication skills. Now, everybody would agree with me to the fact that children are more social and more emotional than adults. But sometimes, what happens is they do not have the ability to express themselves as well as we do. So the ability to develop on their communication skills so that they are able to openly express themselves is actually very, very important. And parents play a very important role in developing communication skills in a child. So whether a child is able to communicate confidently or whether a child is not able to communicate confidently or express himself, it all depends upon what kind of culture is practiced in the home. If you give a more free and open culture to the child, at home, wherein he is allowed to express himself without fear, it just so happens that his communication skills become very, very strong. And today we know that, children who have strong communication skills are the ones who reach different places, who reach various milestones in life. So communication skills is so important that I have placed it under both life skills as well as under professional skills. My next skill would be basic budgeting. Now, though it is something, to do with finances, but still I have not placed it under professional skill. I have placed it under life skill. Is why? Because we assume that children are not earning anything on their own, so they are on pocket money. But with the kind of crunches that we have seen post pandemic, with so many businesses shutting down, so many businesses going in losses, it is very important that right from a very young and a tender age, we increase the sensitivity in children to, moderate the finances in such a way that, it does not create any pressure on the parents as well. There should be no wastage of money, whether there is a pandemic or whether there is no pandemic. This is a very good skill for children to learn at a very young age how to handle finances. And these are very old concepts wherein we used to believe that financial sensitivity a child learns only and only when he starts working or when he starts earning. This is not reality. Children need to have a financial sensitivity right from a very tender age. The minute they start getting their first pocket money, it is very important for them to budget everything. This will help them to become better entrepreneurs in the future. This will help them to become better financial managers at home in the future. And this would also help them to empathize with their parents and need not put excessive pressure on parents for their very expensive and unjustified demands. So I believe that budgeting, though it is a skill, which we always overlook, but is a very important skill which needs to come right from the middle school in children. Next life skill that I actually want to talk about is environmental preservation. All of you would agree with me that this planet is actually going through a lot of stress, when it comes to environment. So, and there is no specific deadline that, after 20 years of age or after 21 years of age, my child will automatically become sensitive towards environment. It does not happen like that. This environmental sensitivity has to be inculcated in the children right from a very young age. And this can only be done by bringing in certain lifestyle changes in one's home. For example, not using plastic. For example, bringing in eco-friendly products at home, and also talking it out with the children that what is the importance of using eco-friendly products. Why are you not buying other products? And even if you have to spend a little bit extra money, but why are you buying an eco-friendly product, and how it will help the environment? What is the difference between biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste products? How to recycle things. There are a lot of things that from children's stationery and the byproducts which children always just throw it off. It is the responsibility of the parents to teach them how to recycle that stuff, so that it inculcates in them a sense of sensitivity towards environment. For example, Greta Thunberg, we all know that. I mean, how she spoke about the environment. So all our children need to learn that at a very, very young age. And the last life skill that I actually want to talk about for the session is resilience and adaptability. Now, what is resilience and adaptability? It is the ability that, every time after an adversity happens, you are able to bounce back with the same vigor, with the same passion. So this is what is resilience and adaptability. And we all know what has happened after the pandemic. Kids who have been resilient, the kids who have been adaptable to the external circumstances, they have been able to really shine in all walks of life, be it academics or be it, health areas or be it extracurricular activities. But if there is a lack of adaptability and resilience, we have seen a lot of sad cases, wherein children are giving up on life, and, the number of depression cases, which are increasing in the children, the mental health is the talk of the town today. Is why? Because we have not been able to cope up with very adverse conditions. And to all the children out there, I just want to say one thing, that if you are able to face the adversities in the environment with courage, you change not just your life, but you also change the life of others around you. It's very, very disheartening to read in the newspapers every day that the number of depression cases are increasing. This is very, very sad, particularly amongst children, and mental health cases are increasing among children. So it comes again from the parents, how to make your children very resilient, how to make them very flexible and adaptable, and whatever life throws at them, they should be ready to face it like head on. I know it is easier to say, but it is the responsibility of the teachers and the parents to be able to do that. So, having spoken about these life skills, which will make children better human beings, now I want to talk about certain professional skills which children can spend their time these days, when they are stuck inside their houses. For example, in India, the schools just opened about 2 days back, and now again they are shut down because of air pollution in Delhi, particularly. I'm talking about. So, these up downs are too much for children to handle. 2 days they went to school after 20 months, and again they are stuck at home. But the positive here that we have to look is that it gives them a certain free time in hand. So, how can they use this free time in hand to be able to develop those skills which can help them later on in their professional life? So, the first skill, professional skill that I want to talk about is communication skills, which I know I also spoke about in the life skill, but communication skills is very, very important. There is every stream of life requires you to have effective communication skills. So whatever line you want to get into, whatever field of career you want to get into, whatever field of higher education you get into, you have to go through interviews, and you have to go through written tests, etc. And there is no portfolio, there is no professional profile which comes without an interview. And so how do you clear that interview? Everybody can have 90% in their report cards, but the differentiation factor here is your communication skills. How are you able to convince the interviewers? So having communication skills, right kind of communication skills right from a very young age, can actually help children to succeed in their professional lives. The second skill I want to talk about is the writing skills. Now, why writing skills is why? Because today we see children are so actively involved into writing blogs and, writing social media posts. And they get social media, they take social media as an opportunity to express their opinions to the entire world. But that can rightfully happen only and only if you have great writing skills. Not having great ideas, but not being able to put them into flawless writing will not let you take your message to the entire world. So if you have great ideas, you should also be able to articulate them into words, which is very, very important. And these writing skills come with immense practice, and school books, the textbooks, that we have for the subject of English, it provides ample scope for children to write and to improvise their skills. And apart from that, there is so many worksheets, which are absolutely free of cost, which are available on Google through various language building skills. Because I will not be taking any names here, because I'm not here to promote a brand, but there are a lot of worksheets which are available, for children to download in PDFs from Google and to practice at home. So there are a lot of ways they can do it, and they should also do it. The third skill that I want to talk about is social media skills. I know it is very unique to talk about social media, but we cannot deny the fact that at a very young age today, our children are getting exposed to social media, and with or without the permission of their parents, they all have their accounts on Facebooks and Instagram, etc. And something which we cannot deny. In fact, it is very surprising also that a lot of schools these days, they are actually using social media as a platform for children to do their projects upon their life projects on. So hence, because they have to be present on social media, whether it is a good thing or a bad thing is debatable, but since they have to be present there universally, so it is important for them to have those right skills. We do see how trolling, takes a toll on the mental health of the children. So this is again where resilience, and adaptability comes into the picture, the wisdom to be able to decide that what things have to be taken seriously and what things have to be ignored, and what things have to be handled with courage, and what things have to be communicated without fear. So all of this put together, gives rise to social media skills, which if children learn at an appropriate age, they will be able to handle these issues in a much more stronger and a better way than when you just are plunged into something like social media, which is a very hard world out there. So giving them right sensitivity towards social media, talking to them about the positives and negatives, I think can help them a lot. The next skill that I actually want to talk about is general awareness, news reading. We know that we are living in the era of fake news. There's lots that go on WhatsApp, and a lot of which is fake, a lot of which is exaggerated, a lot of which is also manipulated. So it is very important that children watch authentic news channels, so that anything which is unauthentic or anything which is fake, they are able to make out the difference. So how when a child come to know that whether something, for example, which is being circulated on WhatsApp is fake or is it original? It is only when he has seen the authentic news and hence is able to compare. So it is very, very important that we work on the awareness skills of the children by exposing them to authentic news channels, so that they have that wisdom to differentiate between fake news and real news. The next skill is definitely innovative thinking, critical thinking. We are living in the era where the very conventional business models, which have been prevalent for around 100 years or more, have been totally destroyed by the pandemic and the lockdowns. I mean, 1.5 year or 1 year or 9 months of lockdown, and those businesses were not able to sustain. And the businesses, which have been very innovative, are the ones which are blooming today. They say that, necessity is the mother of invention. So I agree to it. But also at the same time, at a very young age, if we encourage our children to think critically, to think innovatively, so I think it will really help them to be better prepared for the outside world. And today we see that only those businesses are succeeding, which are having very innovative, very unique business models, and all the traditional business models which have been doing like very well for last almost 50 years or 60 years, 70 years, they are nowhere to be seen now. So innovation, critical thinking is something, which our children need to learn, along with another skill which I want to talk about is problem solving. So life throws problems at you at every point. So how do you solve that problem is the question. When we were children and there was not so many online games available, today children are hooked on to their iPads and to their mobile phones to play everything on electronic media. But when we were children, there was a very important aspect of playing, which was known as puzzles. Today, puzzles is a very underrated concept. But it has been scientifically proven that these puzzles, they enhance the problem solving skill of children. So we should encourage our children to play games which, enhance their problem solving skills. And one example which I took is that of the puzzles, because when we were kids, it is one of the most popular games we used to play. And this is something which is really scientifically linked to the problem solving skills of children. But I think today it is very underrated, and there are different forms of games that children are playing. Okay. The next skill that, I want to talk about is technical skills. We are living in a world where technology is changing every single day, So, and also I do agree to the fact that our children are much more adept in technology than we are. They are the ones who are the fastest to learn how to use a iPhone or how to use an iPad, etc. And this skill should be encouraged in them, because today, even if you look at a job scenario, irrespective of which field you want a job in, corporates are always looking in for people who are technologically more adept than the others. There is no time for people to teach technology to their employees. So these technological skills are very important, which children are very quick to learn also, and they should be encouraged also. And also it is their interest area. So I'm sure that if they get the right kind of push and right kind of encouragement from their parents, it will make them very happy also. And the last skill I want to talk about today is leadership and collaboration. And children will learn about leadership skills and collaborative skills is only when parents make them a very important part of decision making at home. Those days are gone when when parents and grandparents would make all the decisions, and they would just tell the children that this is the final decision, this is the place we are going for holiday, etc. Today children want that they should be heard, and also they should be a part of decision making, which is very, very important, because if they learn to collaborate with their family members, it will become easier for them to collaborate with people outside. And it also gives them a sense of responsibility and a sense of ownership. So the best way to inculcate leadership qualities in children is to make them a part of decision making, so that tomorrow the plan fails or succeeds, they are equally responsible as the elders are, and they are equally involved in finding a resolution to it. So leadership and collaborative skill again comes from home and will take them places in their career. So these are the certain skills that I actually wanted to talk about on the occasion of Children's Day. And now I'm open to questions. If any one of you has questions, I'll be really happy to address all of those.
Ma'am, it is how
Question on
can
the
I?
screen.
Yes, ma'am. How can I encourage my children to stay away from online games?
Trust me, this is a very, very valid question. And as a parent, even I feel a lot of challenge to keep my kid away from the online games. But how can we do this? Is number one, by diverting their mind into something which they find more interesting. So, for example, I gave the example of puzzles. So, if an entire family, in whatever family time you have, is involved, in playing games like chess, which enhances the critical thinking, in playing puzzles, automatically their mind would divert. Children resolve to online games, when they are alone and they do not have a partner, and hence they want to do that. Plus, encouraging them for other creative activities, like creativity skills is very, very important. Creativity is never out of the fashion. So first finding out that, what is the creative angle that my child has. So for example, if you find out that your child is very creative in painting, so getting them new paints, new colors, and encouraging them to enhance their creativity. And then, like encouraging them to do whatever interests them more than the online games. Obviously, if you ask them this question directly, you will never get an answer. So you have to find out what interests your child more than an online game, and why is the reason he's hooked on to online games. Spending time with them really, really helps, because I have a personal experience in doing this, that the only way I was able to reduce, I have not been able to get my child off the online games completely, but I have been able to reduce it by good 50%, is when I started getting involved with him in games like chess, in games like carom board, in games like puzzles and painting, etc., or going out in the evenings for a walk, etc. So these are the certain things, it's very hard initially, but then, the results start to seep in. So let not child, think that, okay, online game is the only entertainment I have. When he gets exposed to various forms of entertainment with parents, with grandparents, with their friends, they will automatically reduce their time on online games. I'm not sure if you can completely stop it. And completely, we should not stop it also, because by being on online games, at least they're learning some technological skills. But reduction in time, yes, is very, very important. For that, you have to be involved with the child.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there is one more question. What
Yes.
should we do if we see something wrong happening, like someone taking bribe or attacking innocent people?
Okay, now this is actually a very, very important question. I'm not sure if this question is asked from a child's perspective or from a parent's perspective, but the answer will remain the same in both the cases. See, there were times, when we could not do anything about it. But for example, there are a lot of things we can do today. If I take example of Delhi, so in a very recent survey, it was said that it is the probably one of the capital cities in the world which has got the maximum number of CCTVs. Okay, and the purpose of having those CCTVs is just to remove these kind of bribery and unethical things which may happen in a city. Now, as a citizen, if you see this, what should you do? If I were at your place, I would put it on social media. This would help this message to reach maximum number of people. And I have also done it. And you can tag like the people involved. So, for example, if you think this is a matter which a police should be taking care of, you can tag Delhi police on it, because all these government organizations and the security and safety organizations are present on social media, and they're very, very active. So using social media to raise your voice, reaching these authorities, by tagging them on your social media post, trust me, you will get a resolution to this. And governments are encouraging this, and that is the reason governments today are present on social media as actively as we people are present. Today, every announcement, which is made, whether the schools are opening or the schools are closing down, it comes through Twitter and other social media platforms, because people are using these as good as formal mediums of communication. Using social media to raise your voice and tagging the right set of people will help your message to reach the right place at the right time with the right support. Yeah.
Ma'am, there are two, three questions more.
Yes, please. Yeah.
The one person is asking, is it necessary to have the childlike curiosity and the art of questioning in this fast-paced world?
Okay. See, again, I would want to answer this question by just saying one thing, that, there is nothing which is necessary, and also as parents, we should not force our children to learn all the skills. Trust me, in today's session, I touched upon 10 professional skills and 7 life building skills, so which is a total of 17 skills. No child in this world can have all 17 skills, and there are many more which were not covered in today's session. As a parent, or as a teacher, we should never force all skills on the children, that my child will have this skill also, this skill also, this skill also. It's not a checklist. He's a human at the end of the day. But what skill will help your child depending upon his dreams, depending upon his growth, depending upon his likings and dislikings, are the 2-3 skills we should focus upon. So, for example, if you realize tomorrow that my child wants to do something in the field of artificial intelligence, which is the most talked about field these days, so you have to inculcate relevant skills in him, which would probably involve great mathematical skills, great analytical skills, great critical thinking skills, and great self discipline skills. Tomorrow somebody's child wants to become a chef. Creativity skills, experimental skills are the things that they should be focusing upon. So it's not necessary that every child should have every skill. You need to be very vocal with your child. Find out what he wants to do in life or what makes him happy. Rather than finding about what he wants to do in life, I would say find out what makes him the happiest. And then based upon that, select the skills that you should try and inculcate in the child. And trust me, do not pressurize your children for everything. There is no child in this world, who can have all the skills and should not also. And that kind of pressure from parents should not come in also. And I'm very glad that you actually asked this question.
Ma'am, there is one more question. How can children develop their communication and writing skills?
Okay. So first and foremost thing for communication and writing skills is their textbooks, which is available in the school, and being very proper in doing their assignments and projects related to the subject English. The second is definitely there are a lot of online courses. If you think that the education from the school is not able to do justice for the kind of skills that you want in your child, without taking names, because I don't want to promote a brand here, but I'll tell you that there are a lot of free courses which are available on Google, which help children, and they are designed in such a way that they're very, very interesting. So for example, if you go to Google and you put vocabulary quiz, so lots and lots of games, and quizzes related to enhancing the vocabulary skills of the children will come. And it is so interesting that even as an adult, if sometimes I sit down to do it, it is so addictive that you keep on doing it. Similarly, there are a lot of games, which are designed to enhance writing skills. There are a lot of PDFs which are involved. So if you think that whatever school is doing is good, but you need something additional, trust me, you don't need to pay anybody anything. There is so much material which is available on the internet. It's just that we are not aware of it, that you can help them do this. And one more thing, reading helps both verbal communication and written communication to improve. So whatever your child likes to read, be it Harry Potter or, be it any other kind of book, reading is one thing which for sure enhances both the written skills as well as vocabulary, grammar, diction, and the entire language. So instilling those reading habits in the children will give them a 360-degree improvement when it comes to their communication skills.
Ma'am, there is question, which is better among a home tuition or institute learning?
Okay, so my first question is that, why do you feel the need of a tuition at all? You can be having various reasons for it. Okay, so first you have to understand that what is the reason that, you are looking at the tuition. Is your child not very, is not able to fulfill your expectations when it comes to results or something? Do you need an additional hand holding, or is it just under peer pressure that you want to do? Is that because everybody is going for a coaching, so my child should also go? My suggestion would be that tuition is something which should be the last resort of a parent, because a child is anyway spending 6 to 7 hours in a school, and then when he comes back, he's got homeworks and he's got projects and exams and assignments, which is already too much for a child. But yes, I do agree that under certain circumstances, tuition may be required. There is no such thing at which option is better, home tuition or an institutional learning. Both have their plus and points. For example, if you go in for a home tuition, a child is able to get personal attention, and he's able to open up with the teacher more. In an institutional learning, the personal attention is not there that much. But at the same time, your child is learning the PR skills. He's learning the team management skills. He's learning to be a team player. So these are two different thoughts. Let your child decide in which environment he would want to study after school and take that decision. Both have their pluses and negatives. There is nobody who can tell you which one is better. Some children habitually are more inclined towards group learning, going out of the house and learning in groups under an institution, a coaching center. And some children, they want to secretively learn. So let your child decide, but you have to trust me on this, that both of these forms of learning have their pluses. So both of them are really required, and because you will be spending a lot of money on tuitions, apart from your school fees, so you don't want that money to go waste. So it's better to ask your child that in which environment he would want to study.
Ma'am, can we take further questions?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Ma'am, there is one question. It is true that during and after the pandemic, there is a psychological problem in children raised.
Okay. Who has asked this question? I would just like to say that psychological problem is a very strong word to use, but I understand from where you are coming from. Yes, stress is the word I would like to use instead of psychological problem. Yes. pandemic and the related lockdowns have definitely increased more forms of stress in the children that ever existed. Lot of our kids, they are in that legit age of teenagers, where in any ways, they are, teenage is such an age that it leads to a lot of hormonal changes in the children, and apart from changes in hormones make them cranky, etc. So yes, it has impacted their mental health a little bit by making them more cranky, by making them more stressed out, most importantly by making them less happy. This is scientifically spoken about worldwide. Even WHO has been giving a lot of news articles and a lot of supporting statements in this. Yes, the happiness quotient of the children definitely after the pandemic has reduced. Psychological problem is a very strong word, so I would avoid using that. But yes, if you see your child being less happy, please try and empathize with it, because scientifically the happiness quotient of the children worldwide has reduced after the pandemic and the lockdowns. Yes, this is a reality. Yeah.
Ma'am, there is question, how can I motivate my kids to enhance their leadership skills?
Okay. If you want your children to enhance their leadership skills, you have to give them leadership roles in the house. So, for example, if I were to increase the leadership qualities of my child, I would, in a particular situation, which may not be a very big situation, but in a particular situation, I would ask him to take a decision and convince family members. So, for example, if the family is, divided upon which movie should we see tonight on Netflix, I would probably start by giving this job to the child that, okay, you not only you have to take a decision on behalf of the entire family, but you have to convince the other family members also that they agree to your decision. Leadership skills are inculcated. We believe that a child develops leadership skills only when he starts working. It is not at all true. Leadership skills are always developed in the home. The more responsibilities you give to your child, the more accountable you hold your child for those responsibilities will make him a better leader. Even if his decision is wrong at times, and even if he fails, let him take decisions, let him convince people, let him take the family members with him, and he will actually become a great leader. Do not wait that corporate world will make him a leader. No, you will make him a leader, not the corporate world. Okay.
Ma'am, one more question. What basic budgeting tips can I give my child?
Okay. So this is question, budgeting tips. Okay, so when we hand over this pocket money to children, so they generally take it for granted. Okay, so this is my money and I can spend wherever I want to, etc. So what are the budgeting tips you can give? Number one, write down how you will be distributing this money. So for example, if it is an X amount, so I will be spending X by 2 on this, X by 3 on this, X by 4 on this, and being able to stick on to it. For few months, you will see that, the child is not able to stick down to whatever he has budgeted at the beginning of the month. Ask him to compare the situation at the end of the month. So when he compares his budgeting at the beginning of the month, that this is how I thought I'm going to spend, but actually I have spent like this. So when he matches the two, there will be gaps. Ask him to analyze why those gaps have happened and what can he do in the next month so that those gaps do not appear. But you have to trust that budgeting skill is probably one of the most difficult skills for children to learn. So it's not that he will become perfect in budgeting right in the very first month. You will have to be very patient with him. There will be ups and downs. There will be times he'll finish with his pocket money in the first 3 weeks itself. So as a parent, you have to be very patient towards that. We as adults are not 100% foolproof in budgeting. So we have to give that kind of patience to the child. But yes, the best way to learn budgeting is planning, implementing, at the end of the month, comparing and then analyzing that whatever difference, 10%, 20% has happened from my initial budgeting, why it has happened, and then helping him out to take those steps so that in the next month, those gaps do not happen.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we are running short of time. Can we take one last question?
Last question, please. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, how can we keep our young generation away from this social media and technology?
Okay, first and foremost thing is, why is there a need to keep them away from social media and technology? Like I discussed, even today schools are encouraging them to do projects, etc., which have a certain relevance to social media. So keeping them 100% away is neither possible, neither you should, attempt that. Okay. The thing is to reduce it to the minimum so that it does not have a negative impact on them. But as a parent or as a teacher, I would be wrong if I want to keep them away 100% from it, because we're living in the times that's not going to be possible. So putting unnecessary pressure on the child is not something which I would advise to do. But reducing it so you have to talk to them about both the positives and the negatives. One thing that I do for my child on a very strict basis is having a time limit allotted to him. So, for example, he can play a game for 30 minutes every day on an electronic device. Now, that electronic device can be a mobile phone, it can be an iPad, or it can be a PS5. But 30 minutes per device, not per device, 30 minutes for electronic device, whichever device he wants to play in one day, and 1 hour on the weekends. So, allotting them time, you are ensuring them that they are not spending extra time on it. Also, as a parent, I keep a very strict check on the social media accounts of my child, because there is only one reason, is they are in such a vulnerable age that they are not in a position to differentiate between what is 100% right and what is wrong. And social media is such a place, and we have seen challenges of things like blue whale, which happened worldwide, and which, because of which so many children got trapped into something so fishy and they lost their life and they committed suicides. And we see so many children on TikTok getting trolled and either having mental health issues or even to an extent taking their lives, which is very unfortunate. So to avoid such extreme negativities, as a parent, I am very vigilant in what my child is doing on social media, number one. And number two, I'm very, very strict about the time that he spends on social media, because if the time is controlled, there are a lot of things which are controlled. But for that, the parent has to be as disciplined as the child.
Thank you, ma'am. It was very enlightening, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and your precious time. And thank you for attending this event. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
everyone. I hope you liked this session. See you again. Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.